Unfortunately, Southington's own representative, Zeke Zaleski, has forgotten who his constituents really are. He has confused his professional role as a union leader with his political role as Southington's state representative. He has chosen to impose his beliefs and his personal agenda on the citizens of Connecticut instead of representing his constituents of Southington. We have tried to contact him and request a meeting. However, he has refused it. Since this bill is about child care providers and it affects child care providers, don't you think he'd want to hear what our side is? Instead, he has told me personally that he did not represent just me. He actually told me if I wanted him to hear what I had to say, I could go to the public hearing and testify. At the public hearing, you are given 3 minutes to speak. That was a huge disappointing reality check for me, since I voted for him and I'm a Democrat. We must remind legislatures like Zeke whom they represent and how they became to represent us. This November is election time, and we must remind these politicians who they work for and where their salaries actually come from. So what can we do? As I said earlier, please, we need to call the Democratic senators, and we need to ask them to vote no on this bill. At this time, I would like to introduce Lori Wojnarowski.
Hello, my name is Lori Wojnarowski. I'm a family child care provider. I live in Bristol, and I've been doing daycare since 1997. I have my Child Care Development Associate's credential. It is a national credential. I currently sit on the Board of Directors for Child Care Resources of Central Connecticut, Inc., where I once served as past president. I come from a long line of self-employed family members. I pride myself on being a strong, empowered, self-employed business owner, just like my mother was before me. The child care workforce is 98% primarily made up of women. If you support HB 5312 and force family child care providers into a union, you are taking away the power for them to run their child care business as they see fit. You would be taking away control of our earnings, money that we work hard for to give to the union coffers to use for things we have no control over. Money that could be better spent on educational toys and materials for the children we care for and not to fund political campaigns. We are not in any way anti-union. It is simply that this union does not fit us. Again, we are self-employed. There is no employer-employee component here. Again, we are not anti-union. We are for freedom of choice, freedom for the right to choose how to run our business, freedom for whom we affiliate with, freedom for who we take on as clients, freedom for how much we charge, and simply put, the union does not fit us. We did not ask for it. We do not want it. Again, we are self-employed, and there is no employer-employee component. We are individual women working from our separate homes. We set our own rate of pay. We are self-employed. Allow us the freedom to do so. Maria covered pretty much what Cares for Kids is. It is a subsidy intended for low-income families to pay a portion of their child care. It is not intended in any way to pay the entire portion of the child care tuition. We do not benefit from Cares for Kids. We get paid at the end of the month, 2 weeks after actually the end of the month. So there really is no benefit for the provider. It is just a means in which the parent pays us some of their tuition. Because of this bill, I have personally stopped taking all Cares for Kids families. I have never, ever turned away anyone on this program before. It is truly a sad time to refuse child care to these children. We need to stop and we need to think what is going to happen to these children. Who will care for them? What kind of conditions will they be subject to now that they are going to be discriminated against because of House Bill 5312? Some of the families will be losing their jobs because they cannot find suitable or adequate child care, and they'll end up back on welfare. And who will end up paying for that? We, as taxpayers, will end up paying for that. Governor Malloy should have sent all licensed and relative caregivers providers a letter to explain his intentions on unionizing child care providers before signing Executive Order 9. He should have asked how we felt. He did not do this. Child care providers should have been informed ahead of time about the voting process and told exactly what it was intended to do. Yet, we were never informed. Because we were never informed, the SEIU won their vote. If we had known ahead of time what it was, we would not have thrown it away, and the vote would have been different. All licensed child care providers should have received ballots. Not all did. We deserve the right to decide what, if any, union is to represent us. Our freedom has been taken away. Unlicensed child care were allowed to vote. This is not their profession. They should not be allowed to decide for all who have chosen family child care provider as a career. What we receive if 5312 passes, we receive the right to negotiate for a higher subsidy for our clients and the mandate to pay for it through union dues or service fees before we ever see the Cares for Kids subsidy payment. Changes in labor laws for individuals who receive subsidy versus those who do not. The state bill states only the bargaining unit for family child care providers appropriate for the purpose of collective bargaining shall be a statewide unit of all family child care providers. This, we believe, will lead to an attachment of our fees to our license to ensure that we all child care providers have to pay mandatory union fees, not just the ones on the Cares for Kids subsidy, but eventually all of us. We do, however, get a voice to sit down with whom? Well, we're not sure who we get the voice with because, again, we're self-employed. So not only do we get the voice, but we're not sure who we're going to sit down and actually talk with. What we don't receive with the passage of HB 5312, health care, because we are not state employees, we are self-employed. Workman's compensation, because again, we are self-employed. Pensions, because, get the theme, we are self-employed. The right to strike, because this one's silly, folks. Who are we going to strike with? Ourselves? In the mirror? Because we are self-employed. Increased education, unless we choose to go after it on our own, because it's not going to come knocking on our door. An increase in the Cares for Kids subsidy if the state legislators decide to put it in the budget. There is no extra money in the state budget, and we all know that. The legislative body already has the power to set reimbursement rates for the Cares for Kids subsidy. It's in their job description. That is what the people elected them for and paid for with our tax dollars. We do not need a union to get a rate increase. They already have the power. They know they have the power. So members of the Senate, please, I hope you hear, you have the power right now to raise the rates if you choose. When the money is there, do not support House Bill 5312. I urge everyone out there, call your Democratic senators, tell them not to vote on this bad bill, House Bill 5312. It is an overreach of government power. Leave us alone and let us care for the little ones who will inevitably be caring for us in the future. This is America, land of the free, the Constitution states. Let us be union free.